Tonight, a service station worker threatened at knife point in an alleged robbery at Whyalla overnight. And Port Lincoln landowners bucking the national trend, with only a handful pausing their mortgage repayments.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamain begins now.
Good evening. Police have been investigating an alleged robbery at a Whyalla service station in the early hours of the morning. It's understood a man entered the petrol station armed with a knife and took off with cigarettes. Our reporter Sophia Contagonis has the story.
Police are investigating the alleged knife point robbery, which occurred here just after midnight at this petrol station on Playford Avenue.
A man entered the service station at Whyalla Playford with his face covered with a t-shirt when he requested cigarettes and produced a knife.
Police say the man allegedly stole a small quantity of cigarettes before fleeing the scene on foot. He was last spotted heading towards Elliott Street.
Whyalla police subsequently attended the area and conducted a search but were unable to locate the suspect.
Police have given out a description of the alleged offender.
The man is described as Caucasian, 180 centimetres tall, in his 20s. He is a slim, medium build and was wearing a black t-shirt, white hoodie, black cargo pants and black shoes.
Police say they do not tolerate this kind of behaviour, with hefty penalties in place.
It goes without saying that the offence of aggravated robbery is extremely serious and carries a maximum penalty of life in prison.
Police ask anyone with any information that may assist with the investigation to contact Crime Stoppers.
Landowners are continuing to financially struggle following the pandemic, with 1 in 10 Australian mortgages paused since March. But despite the hardship, those in Port Lincoln have bucked the national trend, with brokers saying boosts in tourism and construction are cushioning the financial blow.
It's the country's first recession in almost 3 decades, expecting to cost the economy more than $170 billion. Since March, up to 1 million Australians have lost work, many struggling to stay financially afloat. Enter in the Big Four banks offering a pause on mortgages.
At that point in time, we weren't entirely sure what that meant, as in with the Equifax reporting, if it would impact people's credit file.
Angela Hersey says the devil's in the detail, with some being caught out in the dark, warning by going on hardship it could potentially impact a person's borrowing capacity down the track. However, landowners snapped up the deferral, with around 9% of all home loans across the country still on pause in August.
Look, it is worrying, because what that means consequently is that the banks then are going to be less likely to lend if they're not sure about getting their money back.
Banks announced it would extend its deferral program into the new year. Even with financial hardship felt across the country, Port Lincoln is bucking the trend. Brokers say the city's recovering tourism industry, aided by the Home Builder Grant, has helped cushion the financial blow. Despite Port Lincoln bouncing back, it's a far cry from Queensland's current situation. According to analyst Equifax, the eastern state has been one of the hardest hit for mortgage deferrals.
But if you can afford to pay it, definitely continue to do that, because it does have a negative impact on your credit file, which a lot of people didn't realise to start with.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
From top accommodation to fun activities, Port Augusta became a tourist hotspot over the long weekend. A local motel owner says it was the first October long weekend they were fully booked out in decades.
It was a busy long weekend for Aaron and his staff here at the Comfort Inn.
Bit of a culture shock. Normally a long weekend you sort of get a bit of a downtime, and so people expect to have that off, but no, it was all hands on deck for us, which was good.
It's the first time he can recall the motel being booked out over this period in nearly 4 decades.
We look back through our figures and that, and apart from sporting events and big carnivals and that, being booked out on a long weekend in Port Augusta was very, very rare.
The influx of travellers, a relief for many who did it tough throughout the start of COVID.
Really have to make up for that 3 months of lockdown that we had, because that was just unprecedented, and it's just sort of getting back to what everyone's saying, like a new normal now. So it's going to be, we're sort of quietly optimistic on how things will pan out.
Other parts of the city also seeing an influx of travellers. Port Augusta's 2 tourist hotspots getting a workout over the 3-day weekend.
Based on previous sort of school holiday periods as well, and combine the holidays with a long weekend, something's coming. And to be honest, we were very pleasantly surprised that we were more busy than we were anticipating.
Looking optimistic for the fast approaching summer ahead, bracing for the Christmas holidays.
I think that again, with the easing of restrictions and people having been restricted for as long as they have, I'd really like to see that or like to think anyway, that we see a busier time than what we've had historically.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, another driving death spurs calls for fast-tracked upgrades on a major highway. And headaches hit a project to revamp a Broken Hill footy oval. Welcome back. A 21-year-old Clare man has lost his licence after allegedly speeding nearly 60 kilometres over the legal limit at Undala Saturday night. Just before 7:30, patrol spotted the P-plater driving at 158 kilometres in a 100 zone. He was slapped with a $2,000 fine for allegedly breaching his probationary licence. Member for Frome Jeff Brock is calling for proposed federal and state government upgrades on the Augusta highway to be fast-tracked. The RAA is backing the desperate plea following another death on the busy stretch.
An estimated 3,500 vehicles travelling on this highway every day. Another fatality prompting desperate calls from this local MP to fast-track much-needed upgrades.
The plan's up ready now because this will be a nation-building project for the duplication of the highway.
It's a critical corridor to the north of the state. It has a terrible crash history, so we believe full duplication is the best outcome for this important corridor.
$80 million already committed as part of a joint government initiative, but the RAA says more funds should be put on the table.
There is some additional funding allocated so that project can extend further and ultimately mean we'll see this project duplicated in the not too distant future.
Wouldn't even get the duplication of the highway from Port Wakefield to Lockyer, which is 31 k's.
Member for Grey Rowan Ramsey says more funds could be on the way, part of the federal budget.
Until now, we've been delivering on every one of our electoral commitments, and I expect us to deliver on this one too.
In a statement, the Transport Minister says the cash already committed is a step forward from the previous government's efforts to fix the road, and detailed planning is underway to identify the priority sections that need duplicating. But Jeff Brock says there's no time to wait, fearing more lives could be lost as summer fast approaches with more motorists to hit the highway.
Consider this very, very strongly, and I will not give up on this because it's an issue that's very close to my heart and I want to continue doing the promotion for it.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Despite the South Australian border opening, a Broken Hill football oval upgrade has been dealt another setback. The light towers at Jubilee Oval are yet to be signed off, with the local wildlife now causing headaches for the project.
They've been up for 8 months but have not been commissioned. The Jubilee Oval's new $600,000 light towers are still not technically installed, but with the SA border now open, the ground will soon be enlightened.
They're going to be commissioned on the 20th of October. We have engineers travelling up from Adelaide to do that.
It hasn't been happy days though, with a recent electrical check revealing a new problem. The plastic ends to the horizontal bars holding the lights have come off, leading to cockatoos eating the wiring.
2020 has been a year I think we'd all like to put a big black texture line through in the next few months, and yeah, it's been an interesting few weeks for us.
Metal caps at the end of the bars will now be installed to prevent further damage. The work expected to be completed before the engineers visit this month. With A-grade cricket set to start next weekend, league officials say there shouldn't be a problem with games returning to the Jube.
I think cricket will be right to go. We're only using the ground and probably one lot of bleachers. So I don't think there'll be a problem cricket-wise.
Across town, and another cricket venue has also completed an upgrade, the Zinc Oval. The artificial wicket being laid over the weekend, ready for B-grade games this Saturday.
That's a huge boost for local cricket, as I mentioned before, because it now gives us an all-weather venue, which we can use for B-grade cricket, women's cricket and any junior cricket.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
After the break, a new partnership aiming to provide more support to remote Australians. And we take a look at what's in store for a new cultural exhibition at Port Augusta. Hello again. A regional initiative aiming to support Indigenous communities has welcomed more than $1 million in funding to help keep the program alive. Starlight Children's Foundation teaming up with Masonic Charities to boost the project and deliver more than 100 trips to rural towns.
Laughter is the best medicine, and Starlight Children's Foundation is using it to help fight children's fear in regional health clinics.
There was a bit of anxiety around these visits, so having the Captain Starlights there has really helped, I guess, reduce that anxiety.
The Healthier Futures initiative is established to help improve the well-being of Indigenous children and early treatment of chronic health conditions through entertainment. Masonic Charities committing more than $900,000 over the next 3 years.
There's a bit of a gap with Indigenous health, and it's a bit of the closing the gap scenario, I guess. So it's focusing on the detection and early treatment of chronic disease.
The Starlight Foundation putting its own signature spin on the initiative, with Captain Starlight helping venture off the beaten track and set a positive mood for children and parents at clinics in remote communities.
We're also seeing the presence of Captain Starlight in these clinics. The kids tend to be distracted in a positive way through fun, music, storytelling, and they're willing to stay to be checked.
More than 100 trips have been planned, with the Captain travelling across Eyre Peninsula, visiting communities from Ceduna to Port Lincoln and everywhere in between.
There's a real need out in those communities, so we're hoping to expand through this funding. We can expand and further increase those trips.
The next trip is planned for the new year. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
With plenty of visitors passing through Port Pirie, the city's tourism centre has put on 2 new art exhibitions. A broad range of talent is being showcased, with activities on offer during the school holiday period.
The tourism centre doors reopened, offering an abundance of activities across the York Mid-North.
Our first weekend opening since we closed because of COVID back in March. So great to see the centre open again, and hopefully we'll see a number of people coming through, both locals and visitors.
Local art being celebrated within the centre. Jessica Crawford showcasing her eye-catching pieces in her first solo exhibit. Peter Cobley also creating some unique pieces.
Peter has an amazing talent for turning tin cans into trucks, cars, minivans, and all sorts of Doctor Who and Star Wars memorabilia, so well worth having a look at.
Staff say they've been kept on their toes with a number of interstate visitors starting to return.
Surprisingly, or unsurprisingly, however you look at it, we've seen a number of people come through from New South Wales. So being the second week of their school holidays, I think they've bundled in the car and gone, let's get out of town and see how far we can get.
Despite some activities still closed, Shack of the Shark remains a Port Pirie favourite.
It's been a long-term favourite for kids over 12, so big kids included. We've got the virtual reality shark cage dive. Unfortunately, due to COVID restrictions, the PRX ride on railway is not running at this time though.
Tourism Centre and gallery open hours can be found online.
We're very much open to walking people through, giving them tours, and we've got lots of information for them to go out and about in the region and visit.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Meanwhile, those in Port Augusta are encouraged to take a peek at a new cultural art show. The Just Add Water exhibition showcasing the robust landscape of the Flinders Ranges using coffee, ash and water.
It's not your usual exhibition with paintings hanging on the wall, with Fran Callan's work combining some interesting materials.
When I first saw the art piece, I was like, she showed me all these tea bags and porridge package, and she said, oh, this is what I'm going to paint on. And I went, oh, okay, that's interesting. And I wasn't sure, where she was going with it.
Maria says she can't take her eyes off the pieces, filling the walls with earthy tones and textures. The pieces showing Fran's trip to the Flinders Ranges through art, highlighting the dryness of the landscape.
Fran's artwork, you could see that she added reflection of the community and the space that she was in.
The exhibition recently opened and featured a workshop with the final products part of the display, showcasing some local talent.
We had dirt everywhere, we had ashes laying, but that's what art is all about. It's about experiencing and feeling the textures and really getting into it.
The exhibition will run until the start of November.
And it'd be great to see the feedback and hear the feedback of our community members, because this is different and it's something that we're not used to seeing.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. A bright Broken Hill hotspot takes to the roads to revamp its business. And we'll have the weather details with Britt. Welcome back. A popular Broken Hill hotspot is taking to the streets to boost its business. Bell's Milk Bar will soon be hitting the road, with the owner rejuvenating an old-fashioned ice cream truck.
The oldest milk bar in Australia is going mobile. Broken Hill's iconic Bell's Milk Bar will soon be roaming the Silver City streets, with its owner currently working on transforming what used to be an ice cream van into a milk bar on wheels. He says thanks to coronavirus, he's had the chance to work on the business.
It's something that I've been thinking about and dreaming about for years, but having that extra time during COVID really enabled me to make it happen, thanks to the support of the Broken Hill Foundation Broken Hill.
Jason hopes by December, locals will be able to spot the van cruising through town.
I'm hoping in the next few weeks that we'll see it out and about. We're probably going to start with some stationary operations until we get the hang of the soft-serve ice cream business, and then who knows, hopefully by Christmas time it'll be driving around the streets.
The van stands out from the regular city traffic, the white-pink exterior with the well-known Bell's logo painted across the side. While some interior work is still needed, Jason is already looking forward to seeing the 128-year-old store on the move.
We are going to take the best of the Bell syrups that people know and love and add that soft-serve ice cream van, ice cream truck side of things as well. And yeah, if they want the full range of their specific flavour, they might have to come to the shop.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Britt.
Thanks, Ruby, and good evening. We saw below average maximums today with a top of 19 degrees recorded at Port Augusta. Port Lincoln reached 15, Port Pirie 18. Taking a look across the region, it reached 17 degrees at Whyalla and Woodna today, as well as in Adelaide. Coffin Bay recorded a high of 15, Broken Hill, Kadina and Cleve 14, with a top of 13 degrees at Clare today. From the satellite, we can see extensive thick cloud to our north, with a front and trough producing rain and the odd storm. Across the Spencer Gulf, patchy cloud pushing up from the south in onshore winds, and an upper trough brought a few showers today, mainly around the coast. Moving on now to tomorrow, southeasterly winds on the Gulf waters, reaching 15 to 20 knots, seas at 1 to 1.5 metres, with south to southwesterly swells increasing to up to 2 metres in southern waters. A shower or two expected at Port Lincoln tomorrow, looking at a top of 17 degrees. Cleve showers and 13, Woodna showers as well with a top of 14 degrees. Showers forecast for Whyalla, a high of 15 degrees there. Port Augusta looking rainy tomorrow, also 15. Kadina showers and 16. Port Pirie showers with a top of 15 degrees tomorrow. Clare rain with a high of 11. Broken Hill rainy with a top of 17 degrees. So that's your Wednesday. Let's look ahead to Thursday now. Showers about Adelaide and the York Peninsula, but looking mostly fine elsewhere. A top of 20 degrees for Whyalla. Port Augusta and Woodna both 19. A high of 18 degrees for Kadina and Port Pirie. Port Lincoln, Broken Hill and Adelaide all 17. Friday, sunny about northern parts of the Spencer Gulf with a bit of cloud over the remainder of the region. Quite a bit warmer too, Woodna with a high of 27 degrees. Port Augusta and Whyalla both 25, Port Pirie 24, Kadina 23 and a top of 22 for Port Lincoln, Broken Hill 20. And Saturday now, mostly sunny across the region. Tops of 30 for Port Augusta and Woodna, Whyalla and Port Pirie both 28, Broken Hill and Kadina 25, Port Lincoln 22. And Ruby, before I go, I would like to formally welcome you to the 7 Spencer Gulf News family. You're already looking like you fit right in at the desk.
That's lovely. Thanks for that, Britt. And that's the local news this Tuesday evening. Thanks for joining us and welcoming me into your homes as the newest member of the 7 Spencer Gulf News team. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.